It's the award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, our story of the week. Later, Jeff has the racing calendar. Mars has This Week in Auto History. And I'll have the stories making automotive news headlines. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. There he is over there in front of the yellow car. My good friend, Jeff Zekin. David Ainsley is with us as well. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us here. So, Mars doesn't know about this. I came up with this morning, Mike, because, you know, it just drew my attention. Did you ever have a place over there called Party City?
Yes.
Okay. I think they're all gone now. I think they went out of business. You do have an HEB over there.
Yes.
And over in the floral department, do they do helium balloons?
Yes, sir, they do.
Okay. Well, helium is the subject of our story of the week today. And I had no clue. And it drew my attention because helium, are you kidding? We used to, suck the helium out of the balloon and that, and had fun with it. Well, as it turns out, the global supply of helium is facing threats from the conflict in Iran, a warning sign for semiconductor manufacturers making chips for vehicles. I had no clue that it was involved in making chips. So here's the story. Some of the largest chip makers have only 6 months' worth of helium in the pipeline, raising concerns about another global semiconductor shortage a few years after the industry recovered from the pandemic-era constraints. And we all remember that. Helium is a byproduct of natural gas production and is used to manufacture semiconductors that are key for advanced driver assistance systems and hardware for electric vehicles. Did you know that?
Did not. No.
Okay. Analysts caution that a manufacturing meltdown is unlikely at this point, potentially skirting the worst of the semiconductor shortage that curtailed vehicle production starting in 2021. But as with other automotive industry component supply chains, the Iran war threatens to throw off a delicate balance if the conflict continues. About 30% of the global helium supply comes from Qatar, or some people call it Qatar,
Right.
which is wrong, which is home to the world's largest liquefied natural gas plant. No clue, did you?
Nope.
You'd think that would be here. Iranian missile attacks struck that facility in March, causing significant damage, according to Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The constriction in the global helium supply is the latest challenge for semiconductor manufacturers, already dealing with a significant hit from the Trump administration's tariffs and a shortage in dynamic random access memory, a chip ingredient that is in high demand from the artificial intelligence boom. Suppliers also have felt the squeeze from automakers consolidating vehicle architecture, which is shrinking the amount of hardware needed throughout the vehicle. Chips that are used for ADAS, infotainment, and EVs are manufactured in semiconductor fabrication plants or fabs that depend on helium for manufacturing. Part of the procedure involves machines that print circuit patterns on silicon wafers. The machines use extreme ultraviolet light to draw tiny details on the wafer. If anything unwanted is caught in this process, such as dust or water vapor, the light does not reach the silicon. Semiconductor manufacturers use helium to purge contaminants and allow fine detailed printing onto the silicon wafer. Helium also is used to cool the backside of the wafer. In general, companies cannot stockpile helium. Helium is shipped as a liquid and then vaporized and used as a gas. Liquid helium boils at about minus 452 degrees Fahrenheit, the coldest boiling point on Earth. Even the best containers accidentally boil off helium. I didn't know anything about this. Using typical insulation technology, a tanker filled with liquid helium that sits in a warehouse for 6 months will end up empty.
Wow.
Most commercial containers can store for 40 to 48 days before the volume of helium that boils off becomes unacceptable. Reuters reported March 31st that Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, which supply roughly two-thirds of the world's chips, can access 4 to 6 months of helium inventory through their supply.
Wow.
The U.S. is the largest helium producer in the world, but not all of that product is semiconductor grade. ExxonMobil's Chute Creek facility in Wyoming produces semiconductor-grade helium, but its capacity is constrained by container and logistics infrastructure. Helium market has seen shortages before, most recently Russian, American, Qatari, and Algerian facilities hiked prices in 2022 to 23. Analysts at TD Cowen said in April 5th, research note that those past shortages may have lowered the industry's reliance on helium. Some fabs have developed recycling systems and scrapped unnecessary helium usage. So they're trying to save it. But anyway, I just thought it was a fascinating story. I had no clue that helium was used to cleanse basically the air when they're making semiconductors.
Yeah, Mike's got a question, I think.
Well, and my question is, I find that fascinating because I always wondered why the phone company used hydrogen to pressurize the lines under the ground to keep the water out, basically is what it amounted to, why we didn't use helium. And now I'm wondering why they don't use hydrogen since it's a dry air and it doesn't have that displacement issue. You know, we would buy tanks of hydrogen to use.
Well, nitrogen's the same dry air. Nitrogen's a bigger molecule than oxygen, and that's why they put it in tires, so it doesn't get moisture. And so helium is not a recoverable gas. Once you use it, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, you can't wait too long to use it.
Yeah.
Right. It boils off. It boils off.
Itself, yeah.
Hey, what a business to get
interesting.
into. Hey, let's get into the helium business. And you're fighting the clock.
Mm-hmm. Oop, it's empty. You got to buy some more.
Yeah. Or make some more.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that
didn't
goes
know
back
that
to
I did not know that it was a byproduct of natural gas. Petroleum gas.
Huh.
Yeah. So I just thought that it was interesting.
It is.
That it's used in manufacturing silicon chips, which in turn, with all of this whole upswell of using these chips for artificial intelligence, it's competitive now with auto industry because they're all trying to get that into cars. Yeah. And anyway, it's a component that I had no clue about. None.
It
Nothing.
doesn't help that Iran's shooting rockets at it either.
Well, there's that. Yeah. But that's only a portion of the supply chain, but still, it's an important one because they don't make a whole lot of it. And what they do make is, for us, up there at the Exxon facility in Wyoming. I was amazed. You know, you start to think about the petroleum industry, and somebody had asked me or asked the question in general terms about, well, why are we so worried and concerned about the oil supply? Oil is involved in almost everything that we have. This pair of glasses it's plastic, made from oil ultimately. Makeup, oil. It is truly amazing, all of the things that come from the oil producers.
We got
in this
pretty
country.
lubed last night.
We did. I think
There's that too.
that was courtesy of Mexico.
Yeah.
Well,
Agave.
everybody contributes in their own way.
That's right. And I has nothing against Mexico at all.
Not at all.
It's a shame that they don't have more of that agave further north,
Especially-
up here in Texas.
12-ounce allotments. There you go.
12 ounce. There's that. Well,
We ran out.
And Mr. Mars is quite familiar with the oil industry. There's where he is.
Yeah.
In the Golden Triangle. It's a huge employer for a lot of people over there.
Yeah, and I think at one time, the Golden Triangle, this area around here, pumped out like 24% of the nation's gasoline from oil, plus all the other byproducts that come with it. And now we've got two large LNG places that are just cranking up and starting to service the ships that are coming in to load. So I'm going to ask about that helium aspect. Since if it comes from LNG, then maybe I would like to know if they're doing that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no telling. You know, we really haven't heard about West Texas crude, although it is one of those price tags. There's two different price tags, and one of them is West Texas, the sweet oil, as it were. And it is a very, for me, convoluted and complicated industry that I really don't know anything about. All I know is that the price that I pay at the pump is about $3.60 these days per gallon.
Yeah. I got a good 5 cents off a gallon this past week. I used my Kroger points.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
paid $3.48 or something like that.
Filled up the truck the other day, got to $92.
Wow.
Haven't quite busted 100 yet for a tank, but
Did it
get close.
Did it shut off?
No.
It had more. You could have put more in it.
Yes. Well, I say that. No, the tank shut it off. You know, the pump wasn't restricted.
I got you. Yeah. Well, thank goodness we don't have that. All I can flash back on is the OPEC oil embargo. That nightmare that happened in about 1975, I think.
Yep, 74, 75, and that's how carpools were invented too.
Yeah,
back then.
That was pretty awful. Remember,
not to get too far off base, but that was a little bit more understandable. They quit selling oil to us, so it cut the supply.
We had no control.
This thing that's going on now, it's just people market it. They're saying, "Oh, you still got 100% of your oil, but we're going to run the price up because somebody else doesn't."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't quite fully understand all of that. Maybe soon we can get us an oil guy on here that can explain it in simple terms, because I'm a simple kind of guy.
Golden Triangle, get somebody from out there. There you go.
There you go. Just pick up the phone and make a local phone call, Mr. Bars. Call Sarah.
Sarah?
Sarah, give me the diner.
Yeah. They talk to the judge.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Well, we've got other things coming up. Mr. Mars is going to have This Week in Auto History, and I'm going to have some headlines. And Jeff may have a surprise or two.
I got a racing calendar. Yeah.
Okay. So it's all coming up. Hey, just ahead, we've got all of that and more here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We're back after these commercial breaks.
The Tex-Mex dining experience is defined by Lupi Tortilla, your destination for Texas's best beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. Since 1983, Lupi Tortilla has served authentic and time-tested recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Atmosphere is part of the award-winning experience at Lupi Tortilla, all developed in a little house near Highway 6 and I-10 in Houston. Visit any of the Lupi Tortillas and you'll see the same attention to detail in each and every location. Start your Lupi experience with queso flammeado and guacamole, along with a classic frozen margarita. Dine on famous Lupi beef and chicken fajitas or pepper shrimp brochette, or a fish or vegetarian entree, and finish with a scrumptious flan for dessert. Find Lupi Tortilla in Houston, College Station, Beaumont, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas-Fort Worth. There's a Texas location near you. The recipes are authentic and time-tested. The ingredients always fresh. Lupi Tortilla. Eats pretty good. Apple or Android, In Wheel Time podcast can be found everywhere, on the stream and through downloads. Whether you're on the road or at home and searching for a fun car talk show, give In Wheel Time a try. Honest new car reviews, fun, informative interviews with real car people, weekly automotive news, features like Jeff's Car Culture, Mike's Driving Destinations, all on In Wheel Time. Check us out on SiriusXM Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or while you're shopping on Amazon through Amazon Music. InWheelTime.com has a list, so check us out.
Back at the same place for our live show, 10 to noon Central Time. Listen, watch on inwheeltime.com, Facebook, and YouTube. If you miss that, you'll be able to connect through a podcast from your favorite podcast channel anytime.
Yep.
Anytime. Time now for the racing calendar, sponsored by the Texas Muscle Car Club Challenge.
Thank you for that. Hey, listen, we got NASCAR coming up in Kansas. Both the big Cup boys, the trucks are off, so you got just the cars running this weekend in Kansas. They're going to be running tomorrow and today. Then Talladega's the next week for them. But Don was saying that their practice was rained out, or qualifying was rained out up in Kansas, so we'll see what happens there. Then you got Indy. Indy is at Long Beach this weekend. I did watch a little bit of the qualifying. That's pretty cool. Very excited about the Indy coming up. And, of course, they're prepping for what? The Indy 500. Okay, so we've got the Formula One Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is postponed because of the conflict over in the conflict area.
The conflicted area.
Conflicted area, and it's very conflicting. NHRA, they're off. They're going to be April 24th through the 26th. They're going to be at the 4-wide, which is really, okay, I guess. I'm not really a big fan of the 4-wide, but they're going to be at ZMAX Dragway.
I'm not either. Who is?
Concord, North Carolina. I don't think the drivers like it either. Hard staging and all that other good stuff.
Yes.
So. And then, of course, the last one we've got, you got your favorite, the lawnmower racing event. You're going to be at the Lone Star Mower Racing Association. Regular racing season is in Madisonville, Texas. That is today. Yeah, it's today. And then you got
Let's race up there.
Norco Horse Week Lawn Mower Racing in Norco, California. Maybe that's over by Jack. Could be over there. And then you got OK Mower Racing at the WRD Motor
MOWTOR.
Motor Speedway. They're in Claremore, Oklahoma. And then we got some stuff coming up at the end of the month in your lawnmower guide. So tune in. Don't be late.
Lawnmower racing.
Lawnmower racing. I did my lawn this past week, and it looks awesome.
Did you race through it?
Did you win?
I'm kind of a slow cutter.
Mars, I might have messed you up over there. Did I mess it up?
Messed me up.
Okay, well, you were just sitting there doing nothing, and I thought since Jeff was talking,
listening.
You were listening?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Who
can
does
you
that?
put yourself back up there?
I'm sure I can.
I'm sure you can, too.
All right.
Because while you're doing that, I thought, there you go, see? I thought that, maybe now we could do the Mike Mars This Week in Auto History.
Sure.
I got it.
Very good. So we're going to start with, there was a few things I found really interesting this week in auto history, but we're going to start with April the 13th, beginning of the week. Now, in 1865, a major milestone was reached by Pontiac. Now, they did start, Pontiac was created in 1926, so by this time they had 10 millionth vehicle rolled off the assembly line. Now, this vehicle happened to be a 1965 Catalina. Now, Pontiac was very popular because of their performance, their styling. The American buyers just liked it.
That's
so
a good-looking car
It
there.
is, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, GM decided in their infinite influence, decided to kill Pontiac off, and the last one rolled off in 2010. Now, moving up in the week, April the 16th, back in 1908, the very first car that was sold by the Oakland Motor Car Company. Never even heard of the Oakland Motor Car Company. It took place April 16th, 1908. Now, this was a brand that became very recognizable very quick. It was started by Edward Murphy, and they were considered very solid, reliable cars. And, of course, that meant General Motors needed to buy them up. And by 1920s, GM introduced Pontiac. And it was so popular that they did away with the Oakland Motor Car Company by 1931. Now, moving up to April 16th, 2003, to get away from the conventional SUV design, which many people are concerned why, the Honda Element went on sale. Now, this was considered a fresh take on practicality, and it was the lifestyle-focused vehicle, because of the engineering and the accessories that came along with it.
And the ugly unpainted fenders.
That was all part of it. It was built on a Honda CR platform. It was boxy, modular design that was supposed to appeal to the new generation that was adventurous and more outdoorsy. Had the suicide doors, a washable interior, and it was aimed at the active young buyers. And over time, some people still like it.
They all got older and they stopped buying them.
They make
They boxed it up and they sent it away. Yes.
They make an aftermarket. It's a fake blower you can bolt onto the hood, and I would do that to that. I would get a fake blower with a Wien Oh,
yeah,
velocity
670,
stack
yeah, 671
and
blower.
bolt it to the hood and just drive it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, two 10,000 CFM carburetors sitting on top of it. And while you're at it, put some zoomy headers out the fenders.
And a fake nitrous tank in the back.
Yeah, put them through the fenders like they do on the
Yeah,
NASCAR guys.
yeah.
Yeah. So moving up to April the 17th. Now, we've talked about this before. Mustang made its debut at the New York World's Fair. Now, this was really cool. It was a big deal. But I did not realize that the same day they were doing this at the World's Fair, that they had all their dealers throw them up for sale the same day. They literally reportedly took 22,000 orders on that very same day that vehicle was rolled out at the World's Fair. They reportedly sold 400,000 of these cars in the very first year it was out there.
Wow.
And it really made a big change in the way people looked at how to do the mass market for these vehicles, particularly the pony cars, which led to a lot more cars coming into that segment.
And
Now,
everyone
then
was recalled.
Every one of them. So April the 17th, 1970, Apollo 13 astronauts actually returned safely from their little trip. And the reason this comes in is because of the mass amount of engineering and materials that they used to make this mission happen. A lot of it flowed very quickly into the automotive segment in the way it was lightweight construction, the electronics, and how the system redundancies found their ways into the cars because it demonstrated that all this technology could work. So it was really applicable to a lot of things, but it definitely impacted the automotive industry. And that was just a few of the things we found this week interesting in automotive history.
I love the Pontiac story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when those Pontiacs came out. My dad was a Buick guy, but there was a guy that he worked with, and he managed to have a new Pontiac all the time. And he had the Pontiac Grand Prix, that car that you showed there earlier. And I just thought that was the cat's meow.
Yep.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
looking body, had lots of power, a luxurious interior, but it wasn't up there at the Cadillac level. It was in the sportier, cool level.
I saw one recently that was restored, and there are very, very few around to actually get parts for. And there's not a lot of parts left, not even the new in stock box type stuff. 8-lug wheel.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yes, that
My
was
dad
very
had a Catalina. Yep.
That was very unique.
Yep. Very good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Mars. Are you still with us?
He's with us.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, I remember when my dad bought one, this is years ago, of course, he was haggling with a used car lot to buy this bright white Pontiac. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it had the fins and stuff on it. And he was so proud. And, we got it all loaded up. He had to get home, so he had to go to work the next day. And we ran out of gas on the way home in the new car. I remember that forever. He was so mad that he didn't think he was too busy haggling the price.
Do you remember back in the day, the dealer gave you like a quarter of a tank of gas, and thank you so much. And then somebody got the bright idea, we'll give you a full tank of gas.
You buy today.
Yeah. And then the quarter tank ended abruptly.
Yeah, but a full tank of gas back then was like $6.
At the most. Yeah. I remember gas wars where
If
it was
that.
25 cents a gallon.
Wow, you could go through your couch to get gas money.
Yeah, we actually got down to 19 cents for about 2 weeks one time.
By the way, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot here. I was asking Jeff, I said, what is meant by the golden triangle? Do you know, Mars?
Yes. So Beaumont, Port Arthur, and Orange triangle, if you look at it on the map, that's where all the refineries, Texaco's largest refinery was here, Chevron, Gulf, all that stuff, because of the refineries in that area is the reason it's called the Golden Triangle. Again, one time it was almost 24% of the nation's gasoline came from the Golden Triangle.
I just read it all started with Spindletop over there.
Yes.
1901. And
You
there's
were
a
there at
the Spindletop
place.
Museum, which
Yes.
is an interesting place. If you ever have some time, stop in there and check
There you
that
go.
out.
Just a little bit of history.
I got
Again.
some interesting notes here regarding electric vehicle registrations fell 37% in February from a year earlier. pushing share below 5% across the board as the loss of tax incentives continued to ripple across the U.S. light vehicle market. But while some automakers canceled EV nameplates as sales cooled, others pushed ahead, including Toyota with its best-selling BZ crossover. EV registrations totaled 56,000 in February, and their share of the light vehicle market dipped to 4.8% from 7.2% a year earlier. That data does not include hybrids. Without the federal tax credit that expired September 30th, the EV market better reflects organic demand now for new vehicle consumers that are kind of slowly warming up to the idea of an electric.
I wonder how it's doing around the rest of the world. We don't
Well,
ever see
apparently
those
in Europe it's pretty big,
Yeah,
but remember
there's
it's different because they've got the infrastructure apparently. Plus, it's not that far to go from Germany to France.
True.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's that.
And the roads are smaller. There's not a lot of
They're more narrow.
on the inner city sides.
Yeah. So there's all of that. And let's see. I don't want to get bogged down here and lose track of time. Carroll Shelby will remain a part of Ford Motor Company's engineering campus, despite a plan released by the automaker showing the legendary designer's name being removed from two streets near its new headquarters. I had that story last week.
Yeah.
Renaming the two segments of Carroll Shelby Way as Raptor Way and Navigator Avenue was under consideration but not finalized, Ford said in an April 10th statement, apologizing for a miscommunication. Carroll Shelby Way is not changing, Ford said. The statement corrected information released April 9th by Ford Land, the automaker's real estate arm, saying Carroll Shelby Way West and Carroll Shelby Way East were among 4 streets changing in May. Well, they didn't talk to the big boss up the way, and they went, not
happening.
Yeah, they didn't get asked. They didn't get permission.
Correct. And so they. Yeah,
There'll be a little something in your last check.
They're gonna fix it. Okay, the N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Your car is a direct reflection of you, so don't be satisfied with color fade or a dingy, dull appearance. Get rid of those terrible automated car wash scratches. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your save-the-paint company. John Gray and his team of detailing experts can help your car's finish without a full repaint. Searching for real experts in window tint or windshield protection? Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Dash cams, radar detectors, Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Got a new car? Get it protected as soon as you take delivery. If you don't know which of the multitude of protection products to go with, John Gray will give you an honest opinion and won't sell you something you don't need. John will help you understand the many options and pricing right on the spot. He's your guy to have your ride looking its best and protected too. See the state-of-the-art shop yourself. Free tours anytime. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is easy to get to, located just south of the Southwest Freeway on the Sam Houston Parkway. Gulf Coast Auto Shield, full-service luxury car care today and online at gcautoshield.com. Gift giving should be meaningful, and we have an idea. A hand-painted custom illustration of your car from one of the nation's leading artists. Now you can get one or a car show poster customized for you, a friend, or a loved one. Bill Sites will be happy to guide you through the process. No matter what the day, birthday, anniversary, or any day, an Autographics custom illustration adds an extra touch of class to any home. Call Bill today, 832-922-0963. That's 832-922-0963.
Well, guess what that sound says? It's time to say goodbye. That's all for this week's N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Be sure to check us out online at nwheeltime.com. We're always looking for new, informative, and great automotive things to bring to our global audience. If you've got an idea, an event, road trip, or tall tale you'd like us to feature, let us know. Our email is info@nwheeltime.com. Hey, when you're searching for award-winning car talk, you can find the N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the N-Wheel Time app and website. Grab a podcast from your favorite podcast store. We video stream our live show every Saturday 10 to noon on Facebook, YouTube, and nwheeltime.com. The N-Wheel Time video coordinator is We Need More Jeff Zekin. For booking agent, video editor, Michael Out of This World Mars, and chief engineer David Ainsley, I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks to our weekly show contributors, Jeff Heitzman and George Skelton. We hope you'll join us again next week from our Dual City studios, 10 to noon Central Time. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Watch the weather tonight. So long for now. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.